For some people, the outdoors is a hobby. For others, it's a lifestyle. Torque wheels are built for the ones who chase sunrise on the water, track game through the timber, and spend weekends towing boats, campers, and ATVs to the next adventure. With a full lineup of wheel sizes and fitments for trucks, SUVs, vans, trailers, and RVs, Torque wheels are made to match your lifestyle and your rig. Wherever you go, whatever you haul, go with confidence. Visit torquewheels.com to find a retailer near you.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast, brought to you by Huntworth. Huntworth gear for all types of weather, all types of terrain, all types of budgets. It's clothing that just works. Check them out at huntworthgear.com. Today's podcast, we got Austin Kantola from Genesis 3D. I was able to go down to their shop and just kind of catch up with Austin. Go see him in Georgia at the Mobile Hunters Expo if you guys are down that way. And we talk about some of the new products that he's got and just kind of like the evolution of the company. Talk a little bit of elk hunting and just kind of like the community at large. Real fun session. Always fun to do them in person, and even better when it's with good people that you know and you have a good relationship with. So really good time over there at the shop. And I like it's nice to be able to work with Austin and, you know, have a guy that said, when you got an idea and you say, okay, this is what I want, and you can have him make something for you and then have it come to fruition. It's pretty cool. So his camera mount for your bow, for the 360 cameras, that's something that myself and some of the other guys with Rome wanted, and now you can go on the website and check it out. And he talks about that a little bit on this podcast, but always cool to see that. But as always, thanks for listening. Go check out Yellowstone.ai now till September with the activation of one of their unlimited plans. You get free video all the way up through September, and bucks are still in their bachelor groups. We're getting all sorts of velvet pictures, tons of bucks all huddled together. They're out there, so get your cameras out there. Go check out Yellowstone.ai, and Latitude's stocking back up. They got Method 3s back in stock, the regular ones. Get over there, and I know there's the debate between Greg and I about the Lone Star or Method 3. I'm definitely team Method 3, but I think they got some Lone Stars in stock too. So go over there, check them out, check their new packs out. The ropes are incredible. Check those guys out over at the Latitude site. Use code BHC for 15% off. And as always, thanks for listening. All right, everybody. We're back once again at the brick and mortar Genesis 3D studio. It's always fun to come here and see, like, I remember the funniest part about this is the first time I met Austin in person, and if you know Austin, you'll know how ironic this is. It was at a bar.
I don't actually remember that now.
It was. I bought two
that's right.
tether or lineman deals.
The figure eighters.
You're like, yeah, at the Moreland Tavern. Like, go up there. And then it was just, you know, so ironic. Now, how long ago was that you started?
Shoot, that would have been 2020 probably, or fall of 2019. I think we need to clarify. It wasn't at the bar. We just met at the bar because it was in a convenient location.
But like I said, it's it's even funnier because of Austin. You know, he's a pretty wholesome individual.
I try to be.
Try to be. But, you know, so his wife is packaging up product in the background, so we have to be PG.
This might be the most PG version of your podcast here.
But, you know, so I was thinking about it on the way here as I was driving over here that, like, you may be like an anomaly in the hunting industry in that, do you feel like you hunt more now that you are working in the hunting industry, or do you hunt less?
I would say, oh shoot, with Hope being here, she might correct me if I'm wrong. When we first got married, I hunted way more than I probably should. And as we progressed through our marriage, yeah, I definitely didn't hunt as much as I wanted to. When I was doing this job and my day job, I didn't hunt as much at all, to be honest with you. But now that I'm doing this full time, like last year was our first full year of as of July was my first full year doing this full time. And I created a rhythm that allowed me to hunt way more. So you're kind of right in a sense because, yeah, I didn't really do a ton of hunting as much as I wanted to. But once I started doing this full time, I was like, oh, I can actually like do this and I can hunt also. But I did it mostly in the morning, so it worked out. But yeah, I never really thought about that because most people, when they start a hunting business, they don't hunt as much as they used to. And for me, it kind of flip-flopped once I went full-time in it.
Yeah, and like I said, and I think what, you know, because you have access to a lot of hunting properties and things like that. And while I was driving over here, I was just, I mean, it's just wild. Like, I was up, my brother picked up a camper near Pentwater, so driving up through all of those bean fields and the apple orchards and everything, and just, you know, it's just a great spot to see deer in the evening and things like that. And I think the last time I came over here, you weren't even here. I met Ben over here, and just driving through the beans and, you know, seeing all the deer, you know, does with fawns and stuff like that. And it's always like, must be nice type situations. And, you know, that's kind of like how you grew up hunting, right? Just always had access to it. How, in that time frame from when you started this business to now, has your hunting evolved?
Yeah, I would say, like, for me, like, I always grew up with knowing that I could hunt behind the house kind of thing and had endless possibilities where we could go with it. For me, like, my style of hunting has changed. For me, it's just more of, like, the openness of, like, hey, I don't always have to go to that one spot to hunt. Now, my dad always goes to, like, 3 trees. That's pretty much all he hunts out of. But for me, I'm like, man, I really want to bounce around and go try this other spot. And it might be the fact that I've set up different property, like different places on our property, because that mindset of like I can move around a little bit more, and I don't have to stay in the one spot the whole time. So for me, I feel like that's, I don't know, where it's kind of opened up a little bit is like being more open to the idea of like choosing where I'm going to hunt on the property rather than like, well, we've always hunted out of this oak tree or this hemlock or whatever. So that's kind of where I feel like I've evolved. And to be honest with doing this business side of things, it's like I have to test the products, but I also like, I kind of get excited to do the things that other guys are doing in a sense that I've never done my whole life, because it's like I'm learning something new every day or every time I go out in the woods doing that.
And how did that evolve? Because like you say, like, so say it was 2020, 2019, whatever, like you just said, oh, I can make something that these guys can use to, you know, not, I mean, you know, we talked about the last time I was here that you have, I don't know, 300 SKUs, like, so trying to figure all of that out, but like, how did that evolve from there? And I think it kind of like goes to a point of almost in the leave deer to find deer type thing. Like, why, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah. And I think for me, like, it opened my mind up to the adventure of like the unknown of like what's around the next corner. With private land, you're not able to do that because you're kind of constrained by the property lines. And so for me, I'm like I've talked about it with guys, like I just don't do trail cameras as much anymore on a private land because it's like I know that there's deer going to be held on there. I don't really care too much about what deer are on there. I just know like there's going to be deer. Whereas like going out of state, like back in 2018 is when I first started out of state hunting. I think it was 2017. And then that next year we were forced to hunt public land because we lost a private piece that we had permission to hunt on. And so from there, like I started diving into like, what does that even look like for me? Because I've never done that. I've never done a hang and hunt before that. It was always just go to this ladder stand or go to this 2x4 stand that was in the woods and you just climb it and make it work. So that's where like it evolved into this idea of like, okay, I have to make something work. But then it was also like, oh man, this is kind of fun because you don't know like if I sit in this tree that I've never sat in or in this property, like what could walk. It's like almost like when you're a kid on opening day of rifle season, you're like, oh, that 30-point buck's gonna walk out. Like you never know. And so that's where like on our private piece, I'm like, I kind of know what's coming. Whereas on public land, I was like, I really truly don't know, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like it's refreshing to hear you say that because I feel like I say that all the time, and people just I don't want to say like they like roll their eyes or whatever, but they're like, yeah, but it's all because for me it's all like so I'm a broken record, but it's just like validation, right? So you go out there, pick a tree that you've never maybe seen before, except for maybe you did some early season scouting or you scouted it out and you said I think I can kill a deer here. Then you get up that tree and then you have that anticipation, and then when it all works out, it's like I did it. It's the end of Christmas Vacation.
Yep.
I did it.
Yeah. Yep. And it's like you did it, and then you're like, okay, somebody realized I put all this work and effort into figuring this one spot out. I think for me, like when I did the Patreon hunt up in wherever it's at, Big Lake, and I was like, I think it was my second sit. I sat and I saw like a 115-inch 8-point. I was like, okay, like I'd never set foot on this property, and I was like, he was within 35 yards of me. Like there was an opportunity, and I just didn't get a chance at it. But I still like what I thought was going to happen actually happened. Didn't say that it happened the next few times I sat out there, but it still was kind of cool to see that, like, even though I didn't put an arrow in a deer or even take a shot at the deer, it was like, okay, this actually worked. Like I can tell you when I hunt on a private piece, I can fairly confidently say I'm going to see deer based on how I know that property layout and how I've hunted it year after year after year after year. So no, the chase and the adventure side of it, I don't even care if it's like the smallest deer I've ever shot. It's still fun. Like I shot one of the bucks behind us off my kayak, and I was like public land floating down the Manistee River, and it was one of the funnest hunts I've ever been on. So I don't know. It wasn't the biggest deer, but it was the one the memory of the story will always last for me.
And that's a hill that I'll die on, is that, yes, I guess everybody wants to shoot a big buck. And yes, you can say, well, guys that don't shoot big bucks, they just make excuses why it's okay to shoot little ones or whatever. But I think some of those, like, terrible drag outs, I think some of those, shots like that, like who you were there with, like the recovery, like I'll always say, like, there's been a couple times where I've shot deer by myself, and my buddy Josh says it. It's like, as soon as you recover that deer, unless you got a party that's coming to get him or whatever, like the hunt's done. Like it's over. And that's a very real feeling. But if you're calling your buddies and your buddies are coming and everything is not now, the fun begins, instead of like, well, now the work begins. So I think you remember those, like the things that didn't go right, and those experiences that you get to share with somebody and that you get to talk about more so than the deer that you were out there all by yourself or something.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because like some of my favorite memories in the woods where I harvested a deer were with other people involved. Like it was because my dad was hunting with me and he watched me shoot the deer or watched a deer fall, or he was calling the elk in and he watched the smoke come up in the air after I shot it with a muzzleloader. It was like, because I got to share those experiences with those people, it made it even better, instead of like I shot the deer, watched it fall, and then I go take care of business. Like I think in that instance, it's like it's even done when you see the arrow hit him and then he falls and you're like, well, shoot, now that's it. And it sounds like bad, but it's like just anticlimactic in my sense. Like I love the story of hearing what guys are doing, and I get to live it with them. That's, I don't know, makes it, I don't know, more enjoyable for me.
Yeah, and it's funny to see like your eyes like light up and stuff. Just like going back and thinking about these things. So go back to that that Patreon hunt, not for all the antics that happened at the beginning of the hunt. We don't need to go through that, but just like the experience, because I remember vividly, that kind of like wide-eyed look when you were looking around going, I didn't realize people hunted like this.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it was, for me, it was just a wide-eyed look of like, this is so many people that I don't know, and they're all here for one thing, and they've traveled so far. And I remember that first year I went, I was like, shoot, you've come from Rhode Island, you've come from Georgia or Florida, you've come from Iowa. Why would you leave Iowa for this? And it's like they all came here for the sole purpose of doing camp together, because they can all do camp on their own to an extent, but that is just not the same as doing it with a bunch of guys that you have only met on social media or Marco Polo or whatever. So I think it opened my eyes to, like, I enjoyed hunting with like my family, but it opened my eyes to this idea of like celebrating the hunt with others and more than just like my dad and my cousins and whatever. So that's where I think my eyes, and I tell you what, man, it was because I showed up at dark. And so like, I'm trying to gauge who's here, and I'm like, there's probably 50 plus people here, and I know maybe 4 of them. And so I was like, this is going to be hard to like keep up with names. And it's funny I say that because Hope's standing right there, she might chuckle a little bit. When we're at shows and I don't know somebody but they know me, she can pick it out like that, or she's like, you have no clue who you're talking to, but you're acting like you do. And I'm like, yeah, I'm guilty of that. But yeah, it was and every year that I've went back, I don't know how many years I've been there now. Is this might be the 3rd year here or 4th year?
This is the 5th year of the hunt.
Okay. So I think I came in when the 2nd year you did it. But every year there's only like a few new people I feel like that get added to the crew. But you can see they had the same look that I did. Like I think of Ben this year, and like, whoa, like what is this? And it's like once they understand what it is, they're like, oh, this is something I've been looking for in a sense, especially if they've never really hunted before or even hunted with a person other than themselves.
Yeah, and that was one of the things like that was really difficult after the first year was that kind of if that were to grow, would not be sustainable.
No.
Right? So it's not like we're not trying to get more people, but it's just like there's not room like logistically and like to try to continue to capture that lightning in a bottle type feeling would be really difficult to be, and to I don't know, what do you do, try to like capitalize on it or something like that? Like,
yeah,
no, it's just like if more people want to come and they are into it, then yeah, but it's like I don't want to like ruin a good thing just for the sake of somebody getting to say they got to go or they were there, because it isn't the hunting isn't anything. I mean, you can have that kind of hunting anywhere.
I was waiting for this. Yeah, I don't know how many deer we put down, but how many were bucks last year?
There was
3.
Yeah.
But there's how many deer put down? Probably
10. But
so,
there was I think there was 2 or 3 non-recovered, but there was a dozen plus arrows flung after that.
Yeah.
And I'm not including mapes.
Yeah, that one was pretty wild.
So,
and that's the beauty of it, is like they're just guys that just want to get together. And I think of the hunt that I did with Redder and Jim, and Jim ended up shooting this deer, and I was like, thought it was a big sized doe, and he carries it with it by himself to me, and I'm like, what in the world's going on? But I was just like, he traveled from Illinois area or wherever he was from to come shoot a doe in Michigan, but it was like he was so jacked, and so it was just fun to see that.
Well, and you say like you just hunt with your cousins and your dad and whatever, and you would never have that experience. Not to say that you couldn't, but that I say it again all the time, but like so I razz people about not shooting deer. It's like, you're robbing me of a good time of getting to help you track that deer, help you drag that deer.
Yeah.
Like that, you're being selfish.
Yeah.
You know.
It's not just for you.
Yeah.
It's for me, for you to fling that arrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there was no, I mean, there was a little bit of razzing, but like there was no ego. It was like we were up there to kill deer.
Yeah.
That was a deer.
Yep.
Presented opportunity.
Yep. It's going to look a little different once we get to a 1 buck state, but before then, we'll just enjoy this.
Well, I mean, you could say that how you will, but there's a chance that will be better. I mean, there may be,
That's true.
There may be more bucks. And it'll be interesting because, like, on our property in the UP, we've done that since well before they had antler point restrictions in the UP. And I can remember years where you could not see a doe. Like, if 5 deer would come in and there'd be, like, 5 spikes, a 4-point, a 3-point, and that was it. Like, and you're just like, come on, I want to shoot a deer. And it just wasn't happening. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But so one of the things you mentioned was the smoke rising from your muzzleloader. So you're headed back out elk hunting this year. Muzzleloader again? If you've been looking to upgrade your cellular camera system to a system that's easy to use, you need to check out Yellowstone.ai. Their app is simple, intuitive, and designed for hunters by people who actually hunt. From setup to viewing your photos and managing your cameras, everything is straightforward and easy to navigate. Yellowstone's Y2 cellular trail camera was given ATA's Best New Technology Award for its ability to automatically connect to the strongest carrier, send HD photos and videos directly to your phone, and withstand year-round field conditions. What really sets Yellowstone apart is their customer service and lifetime warranty. When you need help, you're dealing with a U.S.-based support team that understands hunters and can get your questions answered quickly. They also offer highly competitive data plans and camera pricing, making it easier to keep more cameras in the field without breaking the bank. And if you're investing in equipment, it's nice knowing it's backed by their lifetime warranty that gives you the confidence season after season, spending less time making unnecessary visits to cameras and more time focusing on the hunt. Whether you're monitoring a home farm, a lease, or a public land setup, Yellowstone delivers the features hunters need with the support and value they deserve. Head over to Yellowstone.ai and see why more hunters are making the switch. Backed by a lifetime warranty, Yellowstone cameras are built to keep hunters connected and confident.
That's the plan. I was in between muzzleloader and archery, and then I asked the boss. I said, "Hey, what do you think I should do?" And she was like, "The whole goal is for you to come back with some meat for us, because we had elk one time." She's smiling now, but we had elk from the last elk I got, and the meat was phenomenal. Like, it's unreal. Like, I just didn't understand how good it was. And I've had elk from like restaurants and stuff. Like, this is just different. So when she said, like, the whole goal with you going out there is to get something. Like, if you don't come back with something, then she was like, I'll be disappointed. And I was like, okay, guess we're going with a muzzleloader. And eventually I'll get to the point where I go out there and I'll take a bow. But, like, I tell you what, that first year I went out there and shot a bull within 3 hours of being out there. Like, that's just not normal. And I knew that after the six other days that we hunted. But yeah, that's the plan. We'll do the second week of September, go out there and chase after some elk on the mountain.
And what is your like style? Do you guys go in and camp? Do you stay somewhere? Or?
Yep. So my dad has built a relationship back when I was a kid with this guy that is a cattle farmer out there. So he has rights to the mountain that's public land. And so he sets up 2 different spike camps up there. And then he has people come through every week, and then he just takes them up there on horses and mules, drops them off at the first spike camp, and then just basically says, have at it. And so if we put one down, we just have to get it back to a trail that he can bring his horses and mules up on, and then he'll pack it down the mountain. So it's about a 8-mile hike with the horses and mules to get to where we're going. So it's beautiful, like unreal, the trail that we take up there. But where we get to there, we don't see anybody else, which is half the battle in Colorado from what I've heard based on elk hunting. So that's kind of the style. We have the ability to hunt over wallows if we needed to, which this year might be part of the strategy because it's so dry out west right now with all the lack of snow they got in the winter. So I think that's going to be a big part of our strategy is finding the active wallows and hunting over them, setting up between those wallows and wherever they're bedding during the day in the dark timber. But last time I went out there, it was pretty wet, so we did a lot of calling and moving and calling and moving. Didn't really sit over any wallows. I didn't, but I was mostly the caller after that first day, which I thought that was almost more enjoyable than shooting an elk, is like trying to communicate to them and try to convince them that, hey, it's worth your while to come over here. And that was almost as fun, if not funner, than shooting the bull. So.
And so how close, since you said that wasn't the norm, how close did you get on other animals?
So the bull that I ended up shooting, I shot him at 33 yards. The other, we had 2 more bulls that we got close to. The one that I was calling in, my brother was 55 yards away from me. He had his bow though. So that was the tricky thing, is where my dad was at, he had a muzzleloader, my brother had a bow. So my dad could have probably shot that bull, and it was bigger than the bull that I shot. But I just could not get him to cross over through the meadow to where we were. And something I've learned during that hunt, and even told myself when I was shooting the bull that I shot, because he got hung up and I couldn't get a shot, so I had to scoot over like 6 to 8 yards on my butt on the rocks, is like, don't just settle with where you're at. Like, if the bull is not coming to you, it may not be you calling, but it's like, don't just sit, don't freeze. So like that bull that my brother couldn't shoot was 55 yards. We had another bull that I got him to come down, and then we had some bears come in, so it kind of spooked him a little bit. That guy was probably 120. But we had other bulls. The hard part was my brother was recovering from a surgery, and my dad was just out of shape. So like, I could only go as far as they wanted to go. And so I was like, if you guys only want to go this far, we're only going this far. But if I were you, I would just keep pushing, like, get up the hill, get up that mountain. Like, we got to get to 10,000 feet during this time of year to get in them. And we're at 9,200 feet right now. Like, we got to climb, guys. And that's the nature of it. If you don't have the tag, you're not going to be the one that's going to push people too hard. So.
Now, are they going to listen to this? Are they in better shape going into it this year? Like, what's the...
So my brother's not going. My dad, he's working on it right now. He called me over the other day and wanted to do a workout with me. He's doing the Mountain Tough stuff, which I've done in the past, and it's all like the calisthenics, all body weight. And I got over, he called me, he's like, we're doing it right now. And I'm like, okay, give me 30 minutes. I'm eating dinner. I can't work out right now. And so I come over and he's just finishing one. I'm like, I thought you were going to wait. And he's like, no, I'm going to do another one after this. And I was like, seriously? And so like he did another one, and I'm like, so he's very determined to get into pretty good shape. I think he's dropped like 30 pounds or 25 pounds or something like that. So it's going to be him. And then I have an uncle, that is around my dad's age, just a little bit younger. And then I have a cousin, who's planning on going, but he actually just he just fell and got stomped on by a cow at the fair. So he broke 3 ribs. So I don't know what his shape is going to look like, but we're going to figure it out. So he was the one that I think was going to push me past where I could go. And so it's going to be a different hunt if he's feeling good versus what he's feeling. Like right now he feels like trash. So I don't know.
And so since you were successful last time, like, where do you fall, or how do you guys determine like who's shooter, who's caller?
So I'm the only one that has shot one in the most recent years. My cousin Pete is the one that's going out that broke the 3 ribs. He's went out twice now and didn't get a shot at one. I think he did shoot one and he hit it a little far back, if I remember right. Didn't find it. But I think for us, I think it's just like, let's just go like we're all just going to try to shoot an elk. So it's like, I don't really care if I shoot it or if you shoot it. Like, the goal is to get some animal down and get some meat out of this. So I probably will be the one that probably sits back first if there's like an opportunity, and just give somebody the opportunity, especially if it's like my cousin Pete, and try to be the one that call them in. So I don't know. I probably won't be the one that be like, I got to shoot this one. I don't think any of us are that type of person, but I don't know what my dad and my uncle's strategy is going to be, because I don't know if they'll be able to do what we're planning on doing and pushing and calling and chasing.
How large an area is it?
Now I'm trying to think of, like, it's huge, man. Like,
Well, okay, so that's all I needed to know.
yeah.
So, like, would it be, because I'm just thinking about, like, okay, so I've been out elk hunting a bunch of times, and with a bunch of guys. It's kind of the same thing. And so we've done kind of like that sort of thing. But when you mention those wallows and stuff, it's like, why not just take a couple of the guys and set them on the wallows, and then have the other, like the younger guys or the guys who are in better shape or the guys who want that calling type thing, send them off in the other direction instead of gaggling around.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the strategy is, like, where the first camp is, there's wallows below that. So, like, when I shot my bull, I had to go down with it to take care of the skull and stuff like that. So I actually stayed overnight at a hotel in the town and walked back up the mountain without the horses the next day. But they hunted over the wallows that night, and that was the only time they hunted over wallows. So I think that probably is going to be part of the strategy, whereas, like, my dad and my uncle, if they can't keep up and do all the stuff we did last time I went out there, they'll probably sit up over wallows and just kind of wait for it, because the night that I walked down the mountain, they actually had 3 bulls that walked right across the path. They just weren't ready for them. They were literally walking to the spot where they were going to sit, and they had 3 of them just walk across the trail at 35 yards. And they're like, what is going on? Like, my dad's muzzler was not ready. I don't know why it wasn't ready. Like, it's just a muzzle loader. And then my brother obviously had a bow, and he was like, didn't have his release on him, didn't have anything ready. And I was like, that's not what I expected. But yeah, I think that's the one thing about elk hunting. Like, they can be super quiet, and you think they're going to be loud, and they'll show up, and you're like, I had no clue they were even there, because you're expecting them to be very vocal that time of year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember, so the first time we went elk hunting, John and I were sitting there, and we were just doing some really, like, soft calling. We were sitting in this little, we kind of knew that there was a wallow up there, but we hadn't, we had been told that there was a wallow up above us, but we hadn't gone and investigated it, and we knew there was water down below us. And so we were technically set up between a wallow and some water, and the distance between them was maybe 200 yards, and we were just at the end of this trail sitting in this, like, clump of bushes, and we were just doing soft calling. Like, we weren't bugling, we were just soft calling, and I don't hear very well. And John's like, do you hear that? And I'm like, no, I don't hear anything. And he's like, it sounds like shuffling of feet. And literally right up above us, there was a bull.
The award-winning American Airlines Advantage program rewards more than travel. It takes your whole life to new heights. Earn miles when you fly, as well as with thousands of your favorite brands. And then redeem those miles for flights, upgrades, and experiences worldwide. Advantage members also enjoy earlier boarding and free high-speed Wi-Fi in flight. Join for free and start earning towards your next adventure at aa.com/Spotify.
Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Here's a little tune to help you remember. Same drive, different day. Don't you wish you were getting away? Pack your bags and come on through. Texas, Ohio, Alaska, we're up there too. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Well, I hope you like my little song. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Just walking. Like, I mean, and when I say, like, right up above us, I'm talking, like, 4 yards.
Oh.
Like, he was, like, right up above the trees. And he, like, I don't know what we did. And then he kind of, like, took off. And then so John jumped out and went around the bushes. And I ran way down by the other water and started calling. And I was able to, all this, like, everything that could go wrong went wrong. But so we startled him. He barked. I barked back at him. John went around the side. I went down. And then I called, and just like you do turkey hunting, well, you don't know, but just like you do,
I'm learning.
Just like you do turkey hunting, like, he was answering, but he wasn't, he was like hung up. So I just kept moving back further and further and further and calling. And I was cow calling, and then I got down further, and then I bugled, and then he bugled back, and then he started coming. Well, the whole thing took like a half hour. And so then I started walking up the hill. Well, when I was walking up the hill, because I hadn't made any noise in a while, he was coming down. And so right when he kind of like stepped out and John was getting ready to draw, he saw me walking back up and took off. But to the point, like it was like nothing. And the guy that was kind of told us about the spot and told us to go back in there, he said sometimes he would like call elk. He would just be sitting like along these roads, and he would take a handful of dirt and rocks and just kind of like throw them down and just so that it sounded like,
something walking around,
something rolling down. Because when they go down those slides and stuff, it causes the dirt to move or whatever. And he said he's called in bulls like that. So, but it was, to have a bull like from here to that picture away, and it was literally right up above us.
Yeah. And they're so big, and so when you see them that close, you're like, whoa. Like for me, that was the most shocking thing. Is like we're just not hunting the same animals I've always hunted my entire life. First off, and it's like this sets in when you see it, but then you hear it screaming at you like within, 30 yards. I'm like, this is just different. And like went turkey hunting a few times now, and like it's fun to hear them gobble off the roost, but like there's nothing that will shake you when you hear a bugle that close, and it's just, and then the chuckle afterwards, it's like unreal. But yeah, the different tactics like that too is like, that's just something I feel like, and I was talking to Tom, and he was sharing like, hey, you just don't really know until you start going out there and doing it and listening to them and understanding them.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I'm excited to go out there, because like talking with Tom, and he's a lot like that old timer, like the stuff he does to call, like he's real into like the quiet calling, and like not the super aggressive calling like everybody else is doing. And it's just, nobody's out there, like you can't watch a YouTube video on like breaking sticks,
Yeah.
Like nobody's saying like, oh, this is just, just break some sticks and, maybe do like a calf call here and there.
Yeah.
Like, and then they just come running. Like, but I imagine just like every other cervid or whatever, they're curious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it just goes back to like, I remember a story about long ago. My dad was at our property in the UP a couple days before rifle season, like day or two before rifle season, bow hunting, hunts morning, gets down, goes over to his rifle blind, and he's going to spruce it up. So he's snapping branches and moving brush around. And big buck just comes running right over the ridge, looking at him. And of course his bow's laying over there. And, but that deer thought that there was a fight going on or whatever.
Yep.
And wanted to come check it out. And it's like the same thing happened. And Tom tells a story where he was like packing up their camp, breaking up firewood or whatever first thing in the morning. And he said it like it was like broke off on one side or whatever, but a bull basically came running into their camp, like just because he was breaking up firewood for the morning fire, for breakfast.
Oh, I've heard of people doing that, and just like one of the stories I think I shared with you, I hunted in Missouri, got down to go to the bathroom, and like me going to the bathroom or whatever it was, there just comes 2 bucks running in. I'm like, what is going on right now? So yeah, I think some of those times it shocks you. You're like, and the thing is, we forget, like, they live in the woods the whole time. We don't. So, like, us going in there making noises, like, that's not abnormal. And then they hear it, they're like, that's not normal. Like, what's going on over there? So, yeah.
Yeah. And, they say, well, make sounds like a whole bunch of stuff. So they're like, who's that? What's going on? And that, I can relate it a lot to turkeys, but, to not, we don't get the opportunity to go out and, call elk or see elk in their natural habitat. So we just go out there like and try to figure it out. Like do our best. Just try and fool these animals, like you said, that live there all year round. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's pretty exciting. I think I'm hoping to go next year. And so that
I was going to ask you when you were going, because I didn't think it was this year, but I didn't know when you were going.
No, this year this year Joe and I are going to go hunt Iowa. So,
Okay.
and I mean, I could still go, but it's just not in the, like, I just didn't plan enough for it. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, like, so normally when I go out to Colorado, I go with Frank. And so I was actually supposed to go with my dad. So with Matt, they did that same camp. So when we did it in 21 or 22, they were like, do you want to do it again in 26? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then it was like at the beginning of 25, they're like, you still want to go? And I was like, well, I don't even know what I'm going to do in 26. So if you can find another guy. So then they found another guy. So I was like, well, but Frank, I've been going with them. And they're like, yeah, we're going to skip elk hunting this year. You know, we're going to go try something else. Maybe we're going to go to Nebraska. Maybe we're going to go do this because they hunt Ohio every year. And so they're like, well, you know, maybe we'll try something else during that time or whatever. And then it got like right up to the deadline to applying for Colorado, and they're like, we couldn't take it. Like, we had to apply.
We got to go.
So that's what ended up happening. So they're going back out there. So
Yeah.
I didn't even really get a chance to think
Process
about
it or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, we're not going. I was like, okay. I don't got to think about it. They're like, yeah, we put in.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. So
Oh, yeah. And that's where all this, like, we try to plan these types of trips out in advance because, one, because of the business, two, because of like the impact it has on our family. Because I'm going to be gone for like a week and a half, 2 weeks for that. So like obviously the business has to keep going, and so like Hope and the kid that works for us, Cooper, is going to have to pick up the slack for me. But then on top of that, we have the adoption stuff. So it's like that's where I was telling Tom, like, I don't know, like, something could happen where I'm not going like the week before or even the week of, and it's like you just kind of have to plan for it's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but you're planning that it's going to happen, kind of thing.
yeah.
So yeah.
And so with the business, like, you said you're not going to the Ohio show, but you're going to be at the Georgia Mobile Hunters Expo. Like, how do you decide what shows you're going to, or like what you're doing? Because I mean, I really feel, important, or
You're important.
blessed or whatever. You're like, I have so much fun at the Patreon camp. I'm just going to skip the Crystal Mountain tack. I'm only going to do Boyne, and then I'm going to come shoot with you guys. Mm-hmm. And I think you got there early enough to get a bed, so you didn't have to sleep on the floor or on a couch. Or
Yeah. Well, I had enough room to put a cot down, but
okay.
My cot's as comfortable as a bed, so I was happy with it.
Okay.
Yeah, the show stuff is different for us. We're a small team, so it's like to pick up everything and go. It's a pretty big impact on our just life in general. But I think for us, like, Hope asked me this, and I think I've shared it with you, is like, how big do we want to grow? Because like, do we need to grow any bigger than what we are? No, like, we're like, God's providing for us, so it's like, do we need to turn into this Nike of mobile hunting accessories or whatever, Converse? I don't know what the big one is right now. But I think about that sometimes, where it's humbling to think like how much we have and do we need more? It's like, no. So like when we look at shows, like, what's the purpose of shows? Like, obviously you're there to make money, but the biggest thing is like the connections, the people that you meet, the companies that you work with. Like, that's probably the one thing I didn't realize when you start going to shows, is like, it's the relationships you have with other companies, especially with us being, like, you can see all the accessories on the wall back there. Like, those are based off like relationships I've built with other companies, mostly is like Latitude, Timber Ninja, Tethered, Trophy Line, like Hunting Beast, all of them. It's like there's a relationship and they want to work with us because we're not trying to step on toes. We're not trying to create the next saddle, the next tree stand, the next platform, whatever. We're trying to create things that people just don't think of, or they're kind of an afterthought or something like that. So for shows, we've done the Iowa Deer Classic. We did fine at it, but it was like that's the market that's like, I want my ladder stand, I want my box blind, and like, yeah, we can make products for them, but our niche market within the niche market is mobile hunting. So like that one wasn't a great fit for us. And so then we looked at Total Archery Challenge, and like, we make enough to do the Total Archery Challenge. We don't make a killing, but it's like, I built so many relationships doing that. They are our type of people that we see over and over and over. So it's almost like a family reunion when we go to the stuff like that, like the Total Archery Challenge. And so we did both of the Michigan ones last year. This year we only did the one, like you said. And so I started with doing tack, and I kind of missed enjoying just tack for what it is. So that was part of the reason, and Hope encouraged me to go to that. And it's like I get to experience it the way I used to with people that, I don't know, they look forward to it all year. So that's how we kind of chose that, is like, let's do one for fun and one for business. Not saying I didn't use the second one for business. It actually was kind of nice because I could walk around and talk to vendors and even people that knew who I was without the idea of like, I have to get back to my booth, because it's only Hope, myself, and my in-laws that are running our booth. So it's like, I have this freedom to just go and sit down with the Mossy Oak guys and just sit in their booth and just chat with them. So that's kind of how we chose tack. And then the Mobile Hunter Expo, it's our market. It's our people. It's hard for us to give up. Well, I will say for Hope, it's hard to give up summers. And so if we're giving up 2 weekends in a summer for tack, 2 weekends in a summer for Mobile Hunter Expo, for her, she's like, that's 4 weekends I just lost because we're doing business stuff. And so that's one side of it. So you got to take care of the business, but you got to take care of your family first. But with the Mobile Hunter Expo one, it's just kind of a lot to do back-to-back shows that are like not in the state of Michigan. And so we kind of had to make a decision, like which one would we choose over the other. And the Georgia show was phenomenal for us last year. I think it was phenomenal for almost every vendor that was there. Huge turnout. There's guys that were ready to buy, wanting to buy, eager to buy. Hunting season's right around the corner, so they're looking for that stuff. So we'll go down to Georgia again this year. We'll have a good crew that will run the booth with us. I'm gonna miss not being in Ohio, mostly because I'm gonna miss the people I won't see in Georgia, vendor side, and then also the people that will show up. And so I think there's a crew of the Bowhunter Chronicles Patreon guys that were texting me like, who's all going to Ohio? And I'm like, I haven't responded yet, because I was like, I'm not going as a vendor, and I'm not going as just a person walking around. We talked about that, Hope and I were like, what if you just went? And I was like, we got so much other stuff going on. Like I can't do it all, kind of thing. So yeah, so that's kind of how we choose the shows. Like we've been asked, we get calls all the time. And I was actually talking to Ben about it, because Ben's like, somebody asked me to come to a show, and he's like, then I realized they want me to pay for it. And I'm like, yeah, you'll get a lot of, like, I don't know what you call it, companies, expos that want you to come to shows. And yeah, I think for us, it's just like, we found that we can do better if we just stick to the online side of things, and then use the specific shows that we want to connect and have like a reunion, in a sense, with the people that we work with.
So for the guys that aren't going to see you in Ohio, or aren't going to get to put their hands on your new stuff, what do you got that's new?
Yeah. So for 2026, it's kind of funny. We were talking before we started this podcast. I was like, what do you want to talk about? He's like, what do you want to talk about? And I was like, I don't know, but our marketing guy just sent an email, so I'll just pull up that email and see what our new stuff was. So I'll start with the first one. This one, we've been working on this one for a while now. It's called the Call Vault. It's to hold your turkey calls and elk calls. You put on your backpack on your shoulder strap, and then you can one hand operate it to pull it open, and then you can store 3 diaphragm calls in there. The reason why I think it's just different than what you see on the market is it's not a fabric material to hold like moisture. So not as low profile as some of those pouches that hold them, but it's going to have a vent on the bottom so your calls can dry out, so they're not going to stink and taste really nasty. But it's also a nice low profile, and it's right there on your backpack straps. You can run it as like a lanyard too, but that's been a really cool one for us, because because I've been working on it for a while and just trying to make sure it was exactly what we were looking for. And like, these pins are injection molded, they're not 3D printed because you need some more strength there, but I didn't want to add metal to it, so I didn't want to do a fastener idea there. But this one's been really cool, and I'm excited to use this for elk hunting. So that was kind of the first one. So I don't know if I might not even let you have one for this turkey season, so I'm sorry about that. But the other one, I don't know when we launched this one. It was recent, but I think everybody's been asking about this. This is like goes on your headrest of your car, and so it's called the Stow and Go. So you put on your headrest. There's 4 different inserts that just like slide in there, depending on the diameter of your headrest post. So you just basically pick which one it is, and you slide in there. The other thing that's kind of nice about it, I don't think I've seen anything like this on the market where it has a bungee. So you run this through your riser, and then this bungee actually goes around the end of this, and it pulls your bow back to your headrest, so it's not bouncing on the end of it. And actually, Brad Luttrell, whatever, he was the one that actually gave me that feedback when he was playing around with it, and I was like, oh, that's genius, because from an engineering perspective, you don't want all your weight out on your lever arm, because it's going to make the system a lot harder to keep that strength. But it also just keeps that bow from like moving around in your back seat and whatnot. And the material that we use for this is not a normal material for us. This is I'm going to say proprietary, because there's so many people doing 3D printing stuff now, and so if you say the material,
if you want all of your data in one place, you need the Intuit ERP. I'm Damon John, and I run my growing business on Intuit Enterprise Suite. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
it's like, oh, we'll just do that then. So it's just a carbon fiber material, but we use this for strength, but also rigidity. And it also can handle the heat and the cold that your car is going to see. Like, so if you hang your bow up in your car right now in the summer on a 90-degree day, it's actually way hotter than that in the vehicle. And a lot of people have found that these hangers will start sagging because it gets so heavy, and then it starts warping because the plastic's basically deforming. So that's a new one. What else we got, Adam? This is a unique one. Did you get to play around with this at TAC? Yeah. So this one, I think we just launched this week, and I didn't know how many we would sell, so I didn't really stock a ton of them. But it's called the third axis calibrator. You put it on the back side of your scope housing on your bow sight, and then you draw back, you anchor, and you look through your peep, and you just basically line up your pins with your string. If your pins and your string are in alignment, your third axis is calibrated, I would say. If it's to the right, you need to rotate it counterclockwise, because basically all you're trying to do is get that string to be behind your pins in that reflection. It's also very handy for seeing how bad you torque your bow. I've played around with this on the Gearhead and also this new Nextlight 33, and I can see how easy it is to torque that small axle bow because of this, because like I can anchor and I'm like, man, my third axis is off. I set it and then I anchor again, and I can like see how easy it is to torque my bow. So you can kind of, that's one thing that's kind of cool about this, is you can really kind of fine tune your form in a sense with that one. But yeah, we sold out of these very quickly, and I had to quickly order a ton more. So that one's been, I don't know, just an interesting, because it's not mobile hunting, it's more like on the accessory side of things. So that's kind of a fun one, and just to hear people's feedback as they start playing with it. The other two, one of them you actually got to run in Kansas this year. I don't know if people will see this on the camera as you.
I requested it.
You were the first.
I told you to make it.
You were I should have named it after you. The Adam cam mount or something like that, but instead I chose the riser cam mount. But yeah, basically it's just a bolt through system on your riser. Has a 3D printed washer and then a fender washer to give it rigidity, so you're not pulling the bolt through that 3D printed part. And then this actually will rotate the camera if you want to put it on like a selfie stick. Like, I think that was something you requested, is like, hey, I want to be able to rotate this, put it on a selfie stick, and when I walk in, I can capture my walk in on the hunt. So like you're capturing the whole journey. But it's kind of nice because you can run a 360 cam, you can run an action cam. We've done it with a cell phone mount, so you can actually run your cell phone. But with this system, I like it better than like if you're mounting it on the stabilizer, because after you shoot your bow, all that vibration travels from your limbs down your riser, and then it goes out your stabilizer. So I've noticed that I get significantly less vibration when it's hard mounted to the riser like this, versus if it's off of like a bent sheet metal aluminum off your stabilizer. It's going to almost act like a tuning fork. It's going to shake. And a lot of the newer video cameras and cell phones have image stabilization, but it's still going to be a little shaky, especially early mornings or late nights when you're shooting like at first light or last light. So yeah, I think that's been a really cool product. We have a trad mount version. I don't think we'll sell a ton of those because there's a lot less trad hunters out there. But that one actually I like that one more than this one, because with trad stuff, you're 20 and in. So you're going to get really good footage with a 360 camera or any action camera or something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a killer video from when Joe and I, on the first day in Kansas when we were going through that creek bottom, like having it out on that selfie stick, like it's just awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know, as far as like the shooting and whatnot from like the point of view or like the shooting back at you, like with the 360, super cool. Like the deer that I shot at was like at 40 yards. I guess it wasn't at 40 yards. It was like at 30 yards because I shot over it. But you can't really see the deer too well. But just to like put the whole thing in perspective of like the way that everything shook out, but the fact that I double clicked it when the big deer was there. Was
I give you
nuts.
a product to test out, and you don't even really use it.
Oh, I used it. It was, I mean, it did everything that I wanted it to, and like I have some really awesome video. Like there's a video where I've got it. I think it's on my bow, but that's got Eric going through this fence with that 360 X5. Where like you could use that footage for anything. Like it's so good. That I mean, I love those 360 cameras.
Yeah.
But to be able to, because the thing is like if you're trying to do your walk in or whatever, like you're trying to hold the camera, hold your bow, look at your phone, like where am I going, like what's going on. So just to be able to hold your bow like you normally would, and then the camera's out there in front of you.
Yep.
Like it's just perfect.
Yeah. The amount of products I've designed and people use for something other than what I designed it for is kind of wild sometimes. I'm like, I didn't think about that. That works way better than I was expecting.
Yeah, but that's like what I said when you were bossing Hope around is like, he's an engineer. He'll tell you how it's supposed to be done, and we'll tell you what it's supposed to be doing in the real world. What happens when you get out and really use it.
Yeah, I get that. Hope that hits a different part of her soul when you say that out loud.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, yeah, and we have more other products. That's the hard thing. Like when we were talking about you asked me to do this podcast, and I was like, I think he's going to ask me like what new products you got this year. I'm like, I don't know if I have the stamina to talk about all the stuff, and we have other stuff we're working on, and like that's been a blessing to connect with you guys, like the Bowhunter Chronicles team, the Rome team, and just like, hey, this is something I'm working on. I just need somebody to run with it, like play around with it. I'm not trying to ask you to break it on purpose, but I'm trying to ask you to use it as if you would use it in the field. So like for me, like you were kind of alluding to, how much do I get to hunt? Like I get to hunt more now, but I'm not hunting the style that everybody else is doing all the time. So that's part of it is like, I need the Brads of the world that are going to be kind of a turd sometimes, but he's also going to run it through its paces that I'm not going to be able to do it because of his style of hunting is just different than mine. So yeah, that's been a huge blessing. Like the riser cam mounts thing, like you guys were so excited, and I remember it was like the day or the night before Kansas, and I think it was Eric or Jake both came over, and they both grabbed it from me, and they were just like, one, so excited because they're going to Kansas tomorrow. Two, because they get to play with new toys on the trip in Kansas and whatnot. So yeah, that's the fun thing about doing this business is just I've been able to connect with people I wouldn't have connected with if I didn't do this business. Like I would know of you, but we wouldn't have this relationship. So
yeah. No, it's been fun, and like I said, I think it's just funny now that I know you as I do, that you're like, yeah, meet me up at the bar.
You're like, this is normal, and then you're like, no, this is not normal.
I'm like, are we going in? Or what?
No, there was somebody shooting up heroin a few weeks before that, so probably not.
It's like, no, I got to get back to Bible study.
Yeah,
the choir's waiting on me.
Yeah, no, you don't want to hear me sing. So,
oh man, well, it's always fun coming down here and moving around your shop.
Yeah,
giving you a break.
I just want to clarify, we don't have hours, so don't try to show up here.
Yeah, I know. It was locked when I came in.
I know. You knocked like a little, like, choir, like, just a little girl, like, can I come in?
Well, I mean, I saw Hope in there, and I didn't want to come banging on like I was ice, you know. I don't know who you got working in the back.
It's just Cooper. He's just a little Dutch boy, so I think he's Dutch.
Does he have papers?
Yeah, I think so. We've never asked him, I don't think, for him. Hope's like giving me the eye, like, shh.
All right. Well, so where can people find you? What should they be looking for? You know,
yeah.
Where?
So on our social media, we're just Genesis 3D Printing. We have Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I think we still have a TikTok. I haven't been on there in a long time. But, yeah, you can just follow us anywhere. Our website is just genesis3dprinting.com. And feel free to reach out. I think we have my phone number on there, so if you need anything, just give me a call. Like, you can fill out a contact thing too in there. So, yeah, that's where you find us.
Awesome.